Quant solved a problem that has cost the crypto world over $1 billion, and almost nobody understands it. Let me show you. If you're excited to understand how Quant is solving one of crypto's biggest problems, be sure to like this video. It helps get this in front of others like you. It's 1:17 in the morning. A developer is still sitting at his desk. 3 monitors glow in the dark. One shows Ethereum, one shows Avalanche, one shows Bitcoin. His coffee is cold, his eyes hurt, but he can't stop now because he's trying to do something that sounds simple. Move value from one blockchain to another. That's it. Just move value. But in crypto, simple things can turn into nightmares. He sends the transaction, then waits. He refreshes the bridge page, checks the wallet, refreshes the explorer, checks again, still nothing. And then comes the worst part. That quiet moment where the asset is not on the first chain anymore, and it's not on the second one yet either. It's just gone, somewhere in between. And every developer knows the feeling. Your stomach drops, because once value enters the bridge system, you're trusting a lot of moving parts. And if any of them fail, the money can disappear forever. This is the part normal people never see. They hear words like cross-chain, they hear interoperability. It sounds futuristic, clean, solved. But for years, moving value between blockchains has felt more like moving gold through enemy territory in the dark. And sometimes, the gold never arrives. Ronin Bridge, 615 million gone. Wormhole, 325 million gone. Nomad Bridge, 156 million gone. In minutes, real people, real companies, real money, and it all traces back to one problem. Blockchains weren't designed to work together. And there is one company that believes all of this. The bridges and the locking that comes with them, the wrapping, it's all completely unnecessary. But to understand why their solution works, you first need to see why bridges fail. Every blockchain is its own independent world. Ethereum runs on its own ledger. Bitcoin follows its own rules. Avalanche has its own execution system. Inside each world, everything works beautifully. But the moment value needs to move between them, the trouble begins. So the industry built bridges. Bridges work in a very specific way. Locked means exactly what it sounds like. The real coins are frozen inside a contract. They cannot move. Now imagine you lock one Bitcoin on one chain. Because that Bitcoin can no longer move, the bridge creates a copy of it on another chain. That copy is called a wrapped asset. It represents the real asset sitting locked somewhere else. So now 2 things exist. The real asset locked on one chain and the wrapped version circulating on the other one. And the entire system depends on the bridge infrastructure behaving perfectly. Because if the bridge fails, the accounting fails. If the accounting fails, the illusion breaks. That bridge once held 615 million of other people's money, and on March 23, 2022, it didn't hold anymore. For years, the crypto industry tried to solve this by building better bridges, faster bridges, safer bridges, more complex bridges. But some engineers began asking a different question. What if bridges were never the real solution? What if the real solution was not forcing blockchains to talk directly to each other at all? What if the solution was a layer above them? A system that could understand many blockchains, connect to many blockchains, and coordinate activity between them. That idea became Overledger. Imagine 4 companies trying to work together. One keeps their records in spreadsheets. One runs a modern database. One built custom internal software. And the last one runs the whole business using sticky notes on a giant whiteboard wall. Each system works perfectly inside its own building, but the moment they try to cooperate, everything slows down. Someone has to translate the information. Data gets rewritten. Requests get misunderstood. That is almost exactly what happens between blockchains. Each network speaks its own language. Overledger acts like a coordination layer above them. Applications talk to Overledger. Overledger then determines how those instructions interact with multiple blockchains underneath. Gateways connect Overledger to each blockchain network. Think of them like translators at a border crossing. They understand the outside request. They understand the rules of the local blockchain, and they know how to convert one into the other. Because blockchains are wildly different systems, different transaction formats, different consensus rules, different ways of storing value. The gateway absorbs that complexity. So instead of forcing every blockchain to change how it works, each network keeps its own design, but gateways allow them to participate in a much larger connected system. But Quant's engineers saw something else, something bigger. Even the coordination layer was not the end of the story, because once you connect blockchains, you begin to ask a deeper question. What if assets from different chains could interact inside one shared environment? That idea became Fusion. If you're enjoying understanding how this architecture works so far, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the deeper breakdowns coming later on this channel. Fusion introduces what Quant calls a multi-ledger rollup. A rollup is basically a system that bundles transactions together and processes them more efficiently. Traditional rollups do this for one blockchain. Quant's multi-ledger rollup does it across several blockchains at once. Inside that environment, assets from different networks can interact together, while still remaining anchored to their original blockchain. That means the system no longer depends on locking assets in one place and issuing wrapped copies somewhere else. Instead of pushing value across fragile bridges between isolated chains, the interaction happens inside a shared execution layer designed to understand all of them. When you step back and look at the architecture, a pattern becomes clear. For more than a decade, crypto tried to solve interoperability by building more bridges. Quant approached the problem from a completely different direction. Not another bridge, a completely new layer. One that sits above the blockchains and allows them to finally operate as their own unique parts of a single connected system. And if this architecture becomes the standard connector between financial networks, the engineers who built it will not be the only ones paying attention. The markets will. Because when the rails of global finance change, capital tends to notice. And that is why the architecture behind Quant really matters. Not because it promises something new, but because it solves a problem the industry has been struggling with for over a decade. And if that problem is finally solved, the era of isolated blockchains may quietly come to an end. If you feel like you understand the real problem Quant is trying to solve better than ever before, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Because the systems being built in crypto right now are going to shape the next generation of financial infrastructure. And before you go, be sure to watch this next video right here. It explains why Quant could quietly become one of the most important systems in crypto. You definitely don't want to miss it.